Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Four Persons. Um, Pardon me for just a second. Still getting set up here. Richard will be joining me, and we're doing a very important part two of. We're discussing some difficult world issues. Um, Unlike some other so-called Catholic blogs out there, we're not afraid to ruffle some feathers. We're not afraid to go against the grain, um, if doing so puts us on the right track of what we're supposed to be doing. So um, we don't like uh, we don't like to be fit into boxes of conservative or liberal or what have you, because we're not called to do that. We're not called to uh, let our political ideology control and set our moral and religious ideology. In fact, we're called to do just the opposite. Any political views that we have should be informed by our religious and moral duties and obligations. Anyway, that's where we are. So Richard should be joining me shortly, and we will start with the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. Richard, I think you just joined me.
Yes, I did. And you notice my name looks right.
Ah, yes. You changed your name to Richard from whatever it was before.
C CVNG Kavanaugh. Let's just say it said Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I thought that was a weird name that you had there.
Because I used my Apple ID to sign in.
So, Richard, just to recap, hadn't said much before you came on, but just to recap what I said, you and I agree that our political ideology should not inform our moral ideology. It should be the other way around.
Absolutely correct. Our moral ideology and our faith should control and direct the political ideology.
Right.
Hence why I call myself a libertarian.
Yeah. And we don't need to rehash a whole lot, but we know that the previous political affiliation or previous blog affiliation that I was with, they had a problem with that. That whenever politics clashed with faith, they took the side of politics.
Yep.
And that's what our good friend Father Stephen Imbarrato refers to as political idolatry.
Yep.
And it is. That's what it is. It's a form of idolatry.
And our good friend over there just wants to be noticed by President 47.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is President 47 doesn't even know that he exists.
Exactly.
He's getting about what do you think he's getting now? About 5 hits a day, and 3 of them are his own, or
4 hits and 4 hits a week, and 5 of them are his own.
Yeah.
He goes to his own page so often they stop counting after 4.
Yeah. And another thing, did you notice that we just I sent you the link to the article. We just have the accreditation from Podbean of 100 live stream shows.
Wow, I saw that.
Now that's just live stream shows. That doesn't count all of the podcasts that we've had that were uploaded or recorded from YouTube or what have you. But we've had 100 live shows.
Wow.
And the number for the other guy is what? 0, I believe, right?
I Haven't looked in a very long time.
Yeah, because I think you have to actually be intelligent enough to know how to do a live stream podcast. And
That's true.
and it's just so funny that he spent so much time congratulating himself on all the great accomplishments, and what he accomplished over there is absolutely nothing. Everything that he has done at
It's
that
somebody else's
apocalypse
work.
is somebody else's work and something that somebody else showed him how to do. And the only podcast he knew how to do was by calling in to a number on Blog Talk Radio. And he only knew how to do that because guess who showed him?
You did.
So, and he followed us over to Podbean and uploaded all of his old episodes that nobody listens to.
Except for the ones that you did. People do listen to those.
Yeah, right. But he doesn't know how to do a live podcast on Podbean. Can't figure it out.
And that's easy.
Incredible.
It's easy.
Well,
it's so look. It's so easy. Even a Georgia judge can do it.
Well, somebody who has some intellect can do it. Anyway,
I was told a long time ago that I needed to write my briefs so simple that even a Georgia judge could understand it.
There you go. But I digress. We have had in the entire 16 years that he was on Blog Talk Radio. 16 years that he was on Blog Talk Radio. He had a total of 216,000 hits or somewhere around it, 216,000, 220,000 hits in 16 years. Honestly, that's actually pretty pathetic. Okay?
Yeah, it really is.
When you consider that 3/4 of that, actually probably about 80% of that was accumulated within the first 5 years.
Yep. And I saw where you and I had a top 10 show.
Yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
We have had 430,000 hits, according to the X platform. Now, this is not our numbers that we dreamed up somewhere, okay? This is Elon Musk's X platform, and all of the work that we do floods into that platform. So it's kind of a catch-all. It's going to catch all of our blog posts, all of our YouTube hits, all of our Podbean hits, everything that we're doing. But 430,000 hits in the last 12 months, Richard. So in 12 months, we've had nearly twice as much traffic as he had in 16
years.
And we've done it in 12 months. And I'm very proud. And if she's listening, I want to say thank you. We've added to our list of followers none other than Carrie Prejean Bowler.
Yep.
And what a modern day heroine she is.
Oh, she is a true hero, and I hope she's listening because she is the future of the Catholic Church in this country.
Yeah. And for those of you who are not familiar, Carrie Prejean Bowler was on the president's Religious Liberty Commission. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she got summarily bolted from that commission because she dared to say that as a practicing traditional Catholic, she could not sign off on the doctrine of Zionism.
Correct. Okay?
Now, they branded her an anti-Semite. They said she hates Jews. All of these smears that they hurled at her. Okay? It is not anti-Semitic to not be Zionist.
No, it is not.
It is not anti-Semitic to believe that all of the promises that God made to Abraham were fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. In fact, that is the Christian faith as it has been practiced for 2,000 years. This
As
idea,
directed by Christ.
right, this idea that we have two different covenants, two simultaneously parallel operating covenants, is a heresy out of the 1800s that was created by John Darby, that was really promoted and took flight because of the so-called Scofield Bible. Okay? It is a heresy. It is not
Mm-hmm.
biblical. It is not rooted in Scripture.
It is
Okay?
not.
Now, does that mean that we want to see the Jews exterminated? No.
No.
Does it mean that we do not believe that that every Jewish person is made in the image and likeness of God, just like every other person on earth? No.
Yes.
Does it believe that we are not in favor? Does it mean that we are in favor of the terrorists who want to kill people? No.
No.
But these are all of the heretical things that have been hurled at us. Okay, because of the fact that we, as Catholics, believe Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of Judaism.
Correct.
He's the fulfillment. He is the temple that was prefigured in the Old Testament. He is the covenant that is prefigured in the Old Testament. He is the sacrificial lamb that was prefigured in the Old Testament. All of that points to Jesus Christ. He is the Messiah. Now,
yes. And to take what she said about the church being the new Israel today, Catholics see ourselves as completed Jews.
Right. Right. And the ironic thing about it is that the language that some of the people that are opposing her are using is really sick language.
Yes.
Really sick language. People are a little too giddy and happy about the stories of 150 schoolgirls being killed in the attack, and there's a lot of the so-called "they had it coming" type language out there.
They didn't have it coming.
That's very dangerous ideology.
Unfortunately, it was either A, an accident, or B, and this is much more likely, we knew that the Iranian government had warheads hidden in the school. And so we had to take out the warheads. It's just like hitting the hospital in Libya in 1986.
The issue is this: we've had people all the way back to Thomas Aquinas and beyond, who described the Catholic just war theory.
Mm-hmm.
And there are multiple things that have to be present in order for a war to be considered just. And
Yes.
one of those is that there has to be a strong moral reason behind the conflict, a strong moral impetus as to why this conflict is necessary. There has to be an imminent threat, and there has to be a clear plan of success, and a clear what's the word I'm looking for? A clear plan going forward. In other words, a clear way of regime change or putting the pieces back together, or what have you. Okay. Now, you could argue that in Venezuela there's a much stronger case. okay, because you had an elected government in place that was ousted by a coup. So now you have a legitimate government that is ready to be put back in place once the leader is ousted. And I'm not saying that I'm not making an argument for what we did in Venezuela. I'm just saying you could make a better argument for that.
Correct.
Do you see those elements present in this conflict, Richard?
No.
I don't. Okay, so Khomeini was killed. Okay. And we both agree that the Ayatollah was a bad guy. I don't think anybody would dispute that.
No.
But what's the plan? Do you see any kind of alliteration of what the plan is going forward? What is the next Iranian government going to look like?
There is no plan going forward. You know, we're just going to keep sending troops or sending missiles and bombs and try to get everybody on board with us. That's what we're doing. And that's not the way to fight a just war.
You there?
I am.
You broke up really badly with what you said there. Could you repeat it?
Sure. I said, I don't see any signs of this being a just war. Number one, in a just war, when you've got the other side down, you stop. You don't keep going. You don't keep attacking. You don't keep going after the next leader or the mullahs that are going to elect the next leader. You stop. They're down. They're clearly disabled. Their navy has been destroyed for the most part. Their air force, for the most part, has been destroyed. They've got about 14 Tomcats left that they haven't used yet. And we don't know if they're airworthy or not, to be honest. And there's no plan for this war to stop. We're going to keep going until we get everybody in the world ganging up on Iran. And that's not a way to fight a war. When the other side is crippled, you stop.
So we started yesterday, Richard, by talking about the larger objective,
Yes.
the larger picture. Okay? You saw the article I sent you this morning that was posted by Christine Niles, right?
Yes, I did.
Now, before we go into it, I think it's fair to say that Christine Niles' reputation and integrity is unquestioned, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, she was one of the key figures in exposing the scandal against Michael Voris. I'm sure that was very painful for her to do.
Yes.
But she came, and because they were friends, okay? Sometimes when your friend is on the wrong side or your friend is doing the wrong thing, you got to make the hard decision of saying something. You got to make the hard decision of sounding the alarm bell. It's not fun.
No.
I'm not trying to say that it is fun. But your friend forced you into that position by doing the bad things.
Exactly.
Not on you, it's on them. Okay? And Christine Niles posted an article from an author on Substack. The author, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that familiar with. But I accept it on her recommendation alone. She holds enough credibility.
She does.
And the article, if what is being alleged in that article is true, let's just put in that caveat. If what is being alleged in that article is true, Richard, that's some pretty disturbing stuff.
Yes.
It's some pretty disturbing stuff because we have high-ranking military officers that are basically touting this mush that God wills this war, Jesus wills this war, and that we need to do this in order to usher in Armageddon.
Yeah, no, Jesus doesn't will this war. Jesus doesn't will any war.
Right.
War is the doing of man.
Yeah. You know who I first thought of when I read that? When I first read this conspiracy nonsense, and this basically what they're saying is that we need to start the chain of events that is going to bring along the end times, bring along Armageddon, bring along the chaos that we're talking about. Do you know who else held a similar ideology to that and tried to act on that ideology?
I would bet it would be somebody in Kansas.
No, I was going to a malevolent historical figure.
Oh,
None other than Charles Manson,
yeah.
who believed basically the same ideology. He believed that the Beatles, no, believe it or not, were heralding the end times, and that the song Helter Skelter, the line Helter Skelter is coming down fast, was about the approaching end times, and that he needed to start a race war in order to bring it about.
Yeah.
And he actually believed the Beatles tune Revolution 9, which is basically not even a song, it's really a collage of, mixed up messages and garbage. But he believed that Revolution 9 was actually an allusion to Revelation chapter 9,
Mm-hmm.
which talks about the demons being released from the bottomless pit onto the earth. Now, anybody could look at that and say, okay, he was nuts. How is what these people are saying any less nuts than what he believed? It's not. It's
No,
the same level of insanity, isn't it?
very much so.
And yet, some of these people are the people that are making decisions on our foreign policy. That's scary, Richard.
Very.
Does that scare the crap out of you like it scares the crap out of me?
Yes.
Okay.
It scares me incredibly.
And President Trump actually came out and said this. He said he believes that Ted Cruz should sit on the Supreme Court. Goodness gracious, could you imagine that?
What's he smoking?
And me and Richard are not leftist. We're not.
No.
We did not vote for Kamala Harris. Okay. But this is what happens when you're too quick to attach an R or a D next to your name.
Yes.
Okay. A lunatic on the right is just as dangerous as a lunatic on the left.
Correct.
Okay. If you're picking between the bear and the lion, you're going to get eaten one way or the other.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where we are. You remember a song, I know you remember a song that came out in the 1970s by Steelers Wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Yes.
Is that not where we are right now?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And I'm sorry, but if dispensationalist, end of the world, eschatological mush is driving the foreign policy of the United States, that is something that scares the crap out of me. And Marco Rubio, as much as admitted that the reason that we launched attacks against Iran was because we knew that Israel was going to, and that Iran would retaliate against us. So we better get our preemptive shot in, because it'll be worse if we don't. What does that admit about American foreign policy?
It admits an awful lot. It admits that our foreign policy is non-existent.
Yeah. It admits that America is no longer calling the shots in the world.
No, it's not.
That the great police force that the United States supposedly was, we ain't in charge anymore.
No.
Okay? If I was president of the United States, I would say to Israel, okay, you don't need to start this war. There is no reason for you to start this war. There is no positive gain that could be brought from you starting this war. And if you start this war, there's going to be consequences. It's going to harm our friendship as nations. It's going to harm our partnership as nations, especially because we, the United States of America, are not prepared to suffer the consequences of your stupidity. That's what my message to Israel would be.
Yes.
So if you feel froggy, leap. All right? But there's going to be consequences. And when I mean consequences, do I mean that we're going to take military action against Israel? No.
No.
Not any more than we would take military action against Iran. But I do believe that, okay, you go ahead. You feel like you need to start firing missiles at Iran? All right, no problem. But those big military foreign aid checks that you've been used to that you've gotten used to getting,
They're going to stop.
They're going to stop. So think very seriously about what you're doing. Okay? So rather than use his bully pulpit as president of the United States to dictate to Israel that we're not going to allow them to force our hand, okay, and that we're not going to allow them to drag the world into World War III. We allowed Israel to dictate to us what was going to happen and what would be the fallout. And how many countries has Iran attacked now since the beginning of hostilities? I think it's 9, isn't it?
I think that's about right.
So to say that this conflict is not broadening, okay, and if those countries decide to jump into the fold, decide to jump into the arena, okay, who do you think is going to jump in on the other side? Russia, possibly? China, possibly? Even if they don't directly jump in, they may jump in terms of military aid, in terms of financial aid. I mean, weapons. Richard, this is a very dangerous situation that we're in right now.
Yes.
And anybody that doesn't appreciate that is asleep at the switch. Anybody that thinks that this is a Saturday afternoon, we fire a few missiles and then it's going to be over, and then we don't hear anything more about that. Point to the conflict in which that has ever been the case.
It has never been the case.
And if all of that is being drawn by some radical end of the world ideology, they may very well get their way. Okay? They may very well get their way. They may very well restore Israel as the dominant world power. Okay? But they don't understand what the early church understood, the ramifications of that. Because once the Muslim world is completely put down, and once all opposition to Israel is put down, and once Israel emerges as the dominant world power, and the temple is rebuilt in Jerusalem, who does that herald the arrival of, Richard?
Well, that would herald the arrival of the Antichrist.
It sure would. It sure would. And I, for one, don't want to see that.
Nor do I.
You know the old saying, be careful what you wish for?
Yep. You may just get it.
These people are playing with fire. They are playing with fire because they just might get what they think that they are trying to bring about. And the world does not want to see that. The world does not want to see that. Imagine a monster so bad, okay, that people like Nero and Hitler and Napoleon were just types. They were just foreshadowing of what is to come if this person rises to power.
Yes. Because this person, the Antichrist, is not going to be anyone that any of us want to deal with. He is not going to make life good and happy. To the contrary.
If everybody believes that we're talking crazy, okay. You think we're talking crazy? Okay. It says that Antichrist will impose a one world global currency that will be controlled by the government, and that you will not be able to buy or sell anything unless you agree and walk lockstep with his ideology.
Yep.
Do we or do we not now have the technology to implement that and force it on the world right now?
We do.
It says he will control the media. He will control all of the messaging so that those who oppose him will not be heard. He will control the messaging. He will be able to speak to each and every person. He will be able to surveil the activities of each and every person so that there is not a place on earth that a person can hide undetected. And they will call out to the rocks to fall on them. Richard, do we or do we not now possess the technology to make that a reality?
We do. We absolutely do.
We absolutely do. It says that because of the war initiated by the Antichrist, 1/3 of all mankind will be wiped out from the face of the earth by fire raining down from the sky. Richard, do we or do we not now possess the technology to make that a reality?
We do. Just look at Iran. We're making it happen right now.
You look at the nuclear firepower. If the nuclear firepower of countries like China, Russia, Israel, and the United States were to be brought into play, is it any reach to say that 1/3 of mankind could be wiped out? That's not any stretch at all.
That's not a stretch at all. It could happen in 30 seconds.
That's not a stretch at all. You could wipe out 1/3 of the U.S. population probably by targeting a dozen cities.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
You're absolutely right.
If you target the top 12 most populated cities in the United States, what would the casualty numbers be?
In the millions. in the tens and 20s of millions. And actually, you could do that by targeting 3 cities: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. There's a third of the world's there's a third of the United States population right there.
Right. Right. And you haven't even talked about Washington, D.C.,
Nope.
Philadelphia, Detroit.
Nope.
Okay. How many can we add to this? Dallas, Atlanta, Miami,
San Francisco,
okay. San Francisco,
San Diego.
I don't think we've gotten to a dozen cities yet, have we?
I think we've gotten to about 8 or 9.
Okay. 8 or 9.
And we're already looking at half of the nation's population now.
Yeah. 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 And this could be accomplished with a few keystrokes from some bunker underneath the ground in 8,000 miles away.
Yes.
We have technology. John Kennedy, in his inaugural address, and if anybody has never listened to a powerful speech, go back and listen to John Kennedy's inaugural address. John Kennedy's inaugural address was borderline prophetic, Richard. He said, for the first time in human history, we have, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact word, but for the first time in human history, we have the capability to save all human life or to eradicate all human life.
Yes.
And that was in 1960. So if it was true in 1960, it's certainly true in 2026.
Yep. It's more true today than it was back then.
And anyone who knows anything about the Catholic faith knows that we're usually the last on board with this end of the world talk.
Correct.
Usually our Protestant friends are the first ones to obsess over end of the world things. Okay?
Very correct.
But that doesn't mean it's not there. And when you look at the ideology of some of the people in power, the people on the left and the right, and you look at the ideology, an ideology of hate, an ideology of extermination. You have people on the right and on the left that are openly advocating for silencing people of opposing views, deplatforming people of opposing views, arresting and prosecuting people of opposing views, and even exterminating people of opposing views.
Correct.
And what is really terrifying to me, Richard, is if I could go back in a time machine and play this broadcast that we're having now to myself 30 years ago, I would think that I sound insane.
I would think the same thing.
I would think that I sound insane. Okay? But if anyone thinks for 1 second that basing our foreign policy on the views of people like Hal Lindsey and Tim LaHaye and Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham and these fanatics, and that's what they are, they're fanatics.
Yes.
Basing our foreign policy on their belief systems, anyone who thinks that is a good idea is like the kid that you grew up with that said, "Hey, let me take this rock and throw it into that hornet's nest right there."
Mm-hmm.
And what was your response to that kid? You go
Sure.
ahead.
Let's go ahead.
Just let me get about 100 paces away from you, and then you go ahead and do it. See how that
Exactly.
works. Okay? See how that works out for you. Yeah, but the problem now, okay, the stone that's being thrown into the hornet's nest now is not going to affect a few people.
No.
It's not going to affect a few people. 9 different countries have been attacked by Iran. Right?
Correct.
People in France, people in the United Arab Emirates, people in Saudi Arabia, okay? People who didn't have anything to do with this conflict, people who don't have a dog in this fight, are having their property and their lives destroyed. While people like Paula White are driving the ideological discussion of our country.
Yep.
People like Paula White, who openly claimed that the ground that she walks on is holy ground, and that the healings cannot begin until the donation envelopes have been received.
Correct.
We used to see people like that on TV in the 70s and 80s, Richard, but we laughed at them. And we laughed at the foolishness of the people who wrote checks to them and sent it to them.
Yep. And who was it that saw a 700-foot Jesus in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And let's not forget Jim and Tammy Faye.
Yeah. I think the first person you were referring to was Oral Roberts, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. You know, and these people were, most of the people saw right through them.
Mm-hmm.
Now these are the people that are controlling the agenda.
Yeah.
And this isn't an attack on Protestantism.
Mm-mm.
It's not. It's an attack on fanatical Protestantism. Okay? It's just like we don't have anything personal against somebody who is an adherent of the Muslim faith. But
Yeah.
if you're a Wahhabist that believes it's okay to lop people's heads off, well, then we got a problem with you. Okay? And we don't have any problem with anyone of the Jewish faith. Unless you believe that you're the chosen people and that gives you the right to world conquest. We're not talking about belief systems. Carrie Prejean Bowler was a member of the Religious Liberty Commission, Richard.
Correct.
And we don't believe that she had any more right to be a member of that commission than any other member. That's not what we're saying. But she didn't have any less right to be a member of that commission than anybody else either.
Correct.
And she's the one that got thrown off the commission.
Yes.
The Muslims that are on the commission didn't get thrown off. The Zionists that are on the commission didn't get thrown off. The rabid anti-Catholics that are on the commission did not get thrown off. But Carrie Prejean Bowler did. Why? Because she stood up for the traditional Catholic faith as it has always been presented and as it has always been practiced and believed for 2,000 years, Richard.
Correct.
She didn't introduce any new ideology. She didn't introduce any hatred towards any specific group of people. She said, I'm Catholic, and as a Catholic, this is what I believe, and this is what we have always believed.
Also correct.
And she got removed from the commission because of that. How absolutely Orwellian is that?
too Orwellian. You know,
And if,
I don't think Orwell could have put it any better.
yeah. And if we don't wake up quickly to what is happening in the world, okay? You know, we've talked about it as a chess game. We've talked about it as a huge chess game, a huge ideological chess game. Okay? And one of the things about the game of chess that is the same about the game of war, so to speak, is a concept of something called a feint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Why don't you explain to our listeners what a feint is?
A feint is where you make a move pointing in one direction and then you come around from the other side. So you draw their attention to the left while you move around to the right.
Right. Well, you make them think that it's a frontal attack, while meanwhile, part of your forces are outflanking them from the side. A feint is basically it's used in sports. It's used in the game of football. Okay, misdirection, okay, is a form of feint, a double reverse or what have you, a form of feint. It's making you believe the threat is coming, or making you believe the greatest threat is coming from one place when it's actually coming from another.
Exactly.
Okay? One example of a feint is a small animal, maybe a warthog or whatever, okay, running from a hyena, thinking that it has escaped the threat. And while it's running into the hyena, it runs right into the paws of the lion. Now, what is this analogy to say? Well, listen, this analogy is putting out that we're not saying radical Islam isn't a threat. We're not saying that nations like Iran are not a threat. We're not saying that nations like China are not a threat. We're not saying any of those things, right? But best you believe all of those threats are the hyena in this scenario if Antichrist is the lion.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an accurate statement?
That is a very accurate statement.
And that is where the chess pieces are moving. Folks, that's where the chess pieces are moving. The ideology is moving that way. The depravity of the human race is moving that way. Our value systems are moving that way. The lack of respect that we have for human decency and human rights and the rights of children. The fact that we have people making billions of dollars trafficking children for sex in order to use it as a extortion tool or blackmail tool. Only the devil could come up with something like that. And all of those pieces are pointing to an outcome. It is not a coincidence that millions and millions and millions of these data warehouses are being built in the United States. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the genesis of that was the aftermath of 9/11.
Correct.
It convinced us that we needed to build all these information storehouses so that all of the information could be backed up in case it was wiped out. And we needed to build all of these on the West Coast in case all the information was wiped out on the East Coast. And we needed to build all of these on the East Coast in case all the information was wiped out on the West Coast. Okay? And meanwhile, little by little by little, these data warehouses are being built on a scale that will allow our government to track all of the movement of every man, woman, and child in this country 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There was a person on Tucker Carlson show, and I saw a clip of it. And she said, if you shop at Walmart, okay, just do this. And when she said this, it chilled me, Richard. It chilled me. Said, if you shop at Walmart, just do this. Leave your old debit card or your credit card or whatever it is, or your smartphone with your wallet, Google Wallet app, or whatever it is that you use to pay your bill at Walmart, okay? And go in there and pay with cash. Go in there and pay with cash. And when you get home, within the next day, watch and see if you don't still get an ad either on your text message or on your Facebook or whatever from the very company or companies that you use to make that purchase at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And you made the purchase with cash. And she said, now how is that? How is that they could do that? Well, the facial recognition technology of the cameras when you walked into the store recognized who you were, coincided it with the purchase, and generated the algorithm to produce the ads. Okay? Anyone that thinks we're talking conspiracy nonsense, folks, if you think that, you're not paying attention. Take your smartphone. You don't have to call up an app on your smartphone. You don't have to go to a website on your smartphone. Just turn it on. And
That's
start
true.
having a conversation about a certain product. Have a conversation about a certain specific product, Richard. So don't have a conversation about tractors. Have a conversation about John Deere tractors. Don't have a conversation about toasters. Have a conversation about General Electric toasters. Okay? You do that, and you see how long it takes before you start seeing ads for that specific product by that specific company generating on your Facebook. I dare you to do this. Anybody listening to this program, I dare you to take my challenge and do this, okay, and see if it doesn't happen.
It will. And by the way, you can have a verbal conversation with your best friend and talk about it, and it's still going to show up in your Facebook.
Yeah. Which means what? It means they're monitoring our phone conversations. It means they're monitoring our cell phones when we're not even going to a specific app, not even engaged in the conversation. They're still monitoring it.
Exactly.
Okay? I have a software called ESET. I don't know if you're familiar with it. My antivirus software on my computer is ESET. It sends me alerts. Every time that I go to Facebook or every time that I go to any website or open any app, I get an alert from ESET that the app or the website or the program that I went to attempted to take control of my webcam on my computer. Every time. And I've got it set to deny that access. Now, if I'm going to the Target website, why in the world does the Target website need access to my webcam?
Yeah.
Can you give me any verifiable reason for that?
It's all marketing. It has nothing to do with any rational reason.
Yeah. And it's all marketing. And people might say, okay, well, it's harmless. They're just doing it to try to sell their products. Well, that may be true.
The
That may
purpose
be
of
true.
any business is to separate you from your money.
Yeah. And that may all be true. Okay. But we're not talking about the intent, Richard. We're talking about the capability.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you create a technology that has that kind of capability, all you have to do is marry that technology up with someone that has a nefarious purpose, and you have
Exactly.
disastrous results.
Exactly.
You have disastrous results. Because somebody who has access to that kind of platforming, knows where to go to get access to that kind of platforming, who has an axe to grind with Richard Pettis, is somebody who can log on to a computer and follow Richard Pettis wherever he goes, monitor every conversation that Richard Pettis has. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's real scary, especially if it winds up in the hands of a sociopath who dislikes Richard Pettis so much that he wants to kill him.
Yep. And I just want Target to know that my last name is spelled Smith.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah. And the problem is, Richard, when we're talking about people with nefarious purposes, intentions, and we do agree that there are those people that have nefarious intentions. Okay, nobody denies that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so if somebody online is able to track all the movements of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, okay, to use your analogy, it's not much of a reach that they would be able to track all the movements of the children of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Nope.
Is that a reach?
That is not a reach at all. That is a reality.
Okay, and it's not just a hypothetical reality, folks. It's happening.
Every day.
It's happening. How do you think these child trafficking networks are working? They're not just picking up the kids that they just happen to come upon in the park. No. They are tracking kids online and moving in as predators. It's just a fact, folks. It's just a fact.
Now, we had a visitor come in talking about Trump's illegal war. It's a distraction. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
It's absolutely a distraction.
It's a distraction from the Epstein files and what we're going to find there. It's a distraction from the fact that he hasn't released all the files on the Kennedy assassination.
Right. Right. Because all of these things point back to the same place. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I'm going to tell you something that's going to scare the crap out of you. And by the way, I'm going to have to sign off here in a few minutes. I'm only a few minutes away from work. But I want to say this before we sign off. Folks, you need to start warming yourself up to the fact that the Epstein files, as disgusting as they are, is just the entrance to the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the entrance to the rabbit hole. This goes so much deeper.
And we're never going to see them all.
Okay? Because the Epstein files, the Epstein situation was an orchestrated plan. It was an orchestrated plan to exploit the flesh of little children. Unfortunately, I deliberately said that in the most grotesque way I could say it, because that's what we need to realize, how grotesque this is.
Exactly.
But it was a plan to do that in order to compromise people and make them targets for blackmail in order to have access and control over the United States government. And they have it. They have it. They control the left. They control the right. And when they say march, we dance. And this war against Iran is proof of that.
Yep.
This is end of the world stuff here, folks. The pieces are moving into place. And really, honestly, if you look at all of the things that I'm talking about, every church leader from the infant church all the way forward, every one of them that talked about the Antichrist, every prediction that is made as far as the technology, as far as the ideology, as far as what he would put into place, the only thing that is missing, the only thing that is standing in the way from that person emerging on the world scene is the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem.
Yep.
That's the only step left. And really, in light of everything else that has happened, how difficult of a hurdle is that to get over?
Not much. It's not a
much.
very difficult hurdle at this point in time.
So on that note, I have to sign off, but I think we got enough information here to continue with a part 3. Do you agree?
I concur.
All right. God bless you, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
God bless you. And guys, I'll be back in a little bit with the Chaplet of Divine Mercy.
God bless you. Say the chaplet and offer up all our intentions for it. Thank you.
Roger that. All right.